Colleagues, it is a delight for me to introduce our edited volume, Rural Media Studies, to you, edited in collaboration with the one and only Mark Esteve del Valle, my dear colleague, office mate, and soulmate, safe to say. This is a logical continuation of a manifesto we wrote a few years ago, demanding a rural turn in media studies. And we decided to open up the floor and invite colleagues from across the world and put together this lovely edited volume with perspectives from all continents. Let me briefly describe what the book aims to do. It's going to be available for pre-order sometime in September of this year. Let's begin with judging the book by its cover. As you can see, there are honeycombs here, and they have a few meanings encoded in them. First one, of course, is the hard labor that goes into addressing rural media studies, and it is kind of the acknowledgement of all the hard work that each contributor made towards the book. You can also see that some parts are in the shadow and some parts are more illuminated. That also is kind of an analogy on the whole field of rural media studies. Quite a bit remains in the shadows. Quite a bit is still covered with a veil of an urban bias. And we invite even more colleagues, more scholars from across the world to tap into these secrets that the rural can unveil. Now, how did we get inspired to do this? What we started observing is that programs that are being developed, funding that is being allocated, the discourse that surrounds media studies, it's all fixated on urban spaces. Yet smart cities, vital cities. By default, we view the urban centers as the epicenter of digital development, of media, being media hubs, and then we look at the rest, at the rural, as something peripheral, backward, dragging behind, something that needs to be saved, fixed, something where the rural approaches need to be transferred to. And we want to challenge that because the rural offers so much more than that. Yeah, some of these um, phenomena, elements, processes, they're not, it's not as easy as taking them from the rural urban space and applying them to the rural. Moreover, there is quite a bit that the urban can learn from the rural when it comes to some elements of resilience, some practices, especially amid information overflow, disinformation. And we want to surpass this. Of course, it's just the first step. Already we are thinking about the next ones because there is so much that needs to be covered. We are lucky to have colleagues covering, both cases of journalism, technology impact, platformization, gendered issues, youth issues, race, nation building. So we have quite the interdisciplinary approach. And in my email, in which you received the link to this video, you also have the link to the uh, Lexington, or as it was observed by a Bloomsbury publisher, for the actual website space where the book is going to be available. So you can use a drop-down menu to access the table of contents and look at all the lovely contributions. I'm also sharing the link to our open access manifesto that we wrote a few years back, and um, invite you to consider making a contribution to the field of rural media studies and look forward to engaging in more dialogues on this domain. So thank you so much from my personal, I guess, experience. Maybe to use one more minute, I can share this one vivid image that just came to mind or re-emerged in my mind. How I got drawn into this. I'm from the region of Central Asia, and in one of the countries, Kyrgyzstan, where the internet penetration is so rapid, suddenly it went from 30 to 90%. It's very affordable as well. But there were a few pockets, a few rural places where it was challenging to physically bring the internet. So they came up with a few approaches. The Internet Society came up with a few approaches, or together with the World Bank, like they invested into internet in boxes kind of programs where Wikipedia type of platforms would be delivered on these hard drives, basically, because people have no access to the World Wide Web. They could access them at least through these kind of conventional approaches. But the problem was with access to electricity. And then you had and roads as well, because this one remote village in the south of Kyrgyzstan had terrible roads, and whenever it rained, they would get washed off. So they used donkeys because the car wouldn't be able to pass through these roads, through these rugged roads. They used donkeys to deliver solar panels and this internet in boxes. And to me, this image is just so beautiful, right? Where you have this technology being delivered so conventionally, yet something worked in the end. Now, having said that, it's also an example where the urban felt like it needed to fix the rural. And while it's super fascinating and interesting, and you might think, whoa, now these poor villagers have access to the World Wide Web, I also took a few steps back to consider, well, has it actually improved the lives of the village dwellers? Because now they also became more transparent. It changed the social fabric because people suddenly, learned how to weaponize visibility. Of course, that brought to surface all kinds of gendered and ethnic biases that were also present already, but maybe it also helped amplify them. From the positives, the rest of the country at least figured out that these people exist and that they have also that they're part of the country. But on the other hand, in my personal interest in research of this domain, I want to look at, of course, both benefits and harms of this digitalization, because we are also, from our urban bias, are often fixated on the idea that we need to bring people, connect them, and then they will be happy. But perhaps it's the contrary. Maybe they already lived a nice enough life, and now we brought all the things that make us miserable in the urban domains into the rural. That's just one snapshot, one example, personal anecdote. I thank you for your attention, and I hope we can get further with this project and engage together, collaborate. Enjoy the rest of the day. Take care.